Death toll in South Korea ferry disaster tops 100 as families brace for news. One by one, Coast Guard officers carried the newly arrived bodies covered in white sheets from a boat to a tent on the dock of this island, the first step in identifying a sharply rising number of corpses from a South Korean ferry that sank nearly a week ago. Dozens of police officers in neon green jackets formed a cordon around the dock as the bodies arrived Tuesday. Since divers found a way over the weekend to enter the submerged ferry, the death count has shot up. Officials said Tuesday that confirmed fatalities had reached 104, with nearly 200 people still missing. If a body lacks identification, details such as height, hair length and clothing are posted on a white signboard for families waiting on Jindo Island for news. The bodies are then driven in ambulances to two tents, one for men and boys, the other for women and girls. Families listen quietly outside as an official briefs them, then line up and file in. Only relatives are allowed inside. For a brief moment there is silence. Then the anguished cries, the wailing, the howling. They have not known for nearly a week whether they should grieve or not, and now they sound like they're being torn apart. How do I live without you? How will your mother live without you? A woman cries out. She is with a woman who emerges from a tent crying and falls into a chair where relatives try to comfort her. One stands above her and cradles her head in her hands, stroking her face. Bring back my daughter, the woman cries, calling out her child's name in agony. A man rushes over, lifts her on his back and carries her away. This heartbreak still awaits many families of those still missing from the submerged ferry Swole, or at least those whose relatives' bodies are ultimately recovered. Families who once dreamed of miraculous rescues now simply hope their loved ones' remains are recovered soon, before the ocean does much more damage. At first, I was just very sad, but now it's like an endless wait, said Woo Dong-suk, a construction worker and uncle of one of the students. It's been too long already. The bodies must be decayed. The parents' only wish right now is to find the bodies before they are badly decomposed. About 250 of the more than 300 missing or dead are students from a single high school, in Ansan near Seoul, who were on their way to the southern tourist island of Jeju. Bodies are being identified visually, but family members have been providing DNA samples in case decomposition makes that impossible. The families, and South Koreans more broadly, have at times responded with fury. The captain initially told passengers to stay in their rooms and waited more than half an hour to issue an evacuation order as the Swole sank. By then, the ship had tilted so much it is believed that many passengers were trapped inside. At a cabinet briefing Monday, President Park Geun-hye said, "What the captain and part of the crew did is unfathomable from the viewpoint of common sense. Unforgivable, murderous behavior." The comments were posted online by the presidential Blue House. The captain, Lee Jun-sok, and two crew members have been arrested on suspicion of negligence in abandoning people in need, and prosecutors said Monday that 4 other crew members have been detained. On Monday night, prosecutors requested a court to issue a warrant to formally arrest these 4 people, a prosecution office said in a release late Monday. A transcript of ship-to-shore communications released Sunday revealed a ship that was crippled with indecision. A crew member asked repeatedly whether passengers would be rescued after abandoning ship even as the ferry tilted so sharply that it became impossible to escape. Lee, 68, has said he waited to issue an evacuation order because the current was strong, the water was cold and passengers could have drifted away before help arrived. But maritime experts said he could have ordered passengers to the deck where they would have had a greater chance of survival without telling them to abandon ship. Emergency Task Force spokesman Koh Myung-sok said bodies have mostly been found on the 3rd and 4th floor of the ferries, where many passengers seemed to have gathered. Many students were also housed in cabins on the 4th floor, near the stern of the ship, Koh said. The cause of the disaster is not yet known, but prosecutors have said the ship made a sharp turn before it began to list. The third mate, who has been arrested, was steering at the time of the accident, in a challenging area where she had not steered before, and the captain said he was not on the bridge at the time. Authorities have not identified the third mate, though a colleague identified her as Park Han-jae-ol. Senior Prosecutor Ahn said Monday the third mate has told investigators why she made the sharp turn, but he would not reveal her answer, and more investigation is needed to determine whether the answer is accurate. Blue House spokesman Min Kyung-wook said the government accepted Song's resignation as a warning to others, as he has raised public resentment by trying to take commemorative photos without understanding the feeling of the families of the victims and lost persons. The search effort on Monday included more than 200 rescue boats, 35 aircraft, 13 fishing boats and 641 personnel, mostly Coast Guard and Navy. Most of the bodies found have been recovered since the weekend, when divers, frustrated for days by strong currents, bad weather and poor visibility, were finally able to enter the ferry. But conditions remain challenging. "I cannot see anything in front and the current underwater is too fast," said Choi Jin-ho, a professional diver who searched the ferry Monday. "Then breathing gets faster and panic comes." Searchers on Monday deployed a remote-controlled underwater camera dubbed the ROV-1 to explore the inside of the ferry. Unlike divers who have to surface after 20 minutes, the US-built camera can be used for 2 to 3 hours. The government-wide Emergency Task Force Center issued a statement saying the ROV-1 can reach places that are tough for divers to get to, but it added, "We are experiencing difficulty as there is lots of floating matter."